Hey friends, how are you doing today? I'm back with a little video. I think we're going to make a few videos about van life from the camper to explain some tips, to tell you about life in the van, and to show you how you can live a life like ours. And I think it could be nice to do a format where we, like the articles you find on the website plane-to-keros.com, but illustrate them with videos because sometimes people don't like to read. So we're going to add a bit more. So still road trip videos and videos exploring cities, but also tutorial videos about van life or how to live year-round in a camper van. Because even though it's not our main lifestyle right now, it's still a way of life we've experienced for over 2 years while traveling through 10 countries. So daily life means we have a bit of experience with this kind of nomadic lifestyle, and it would be a shame if you fell into some of the common traps. The goal of today's video is I'm going to give you 6 types of jobs you can do when you're living in a van. When you decide to live the van life year-round, you have 2 types of choices. You have the option of working quite a lot beforehand, putting in significant effort and time, and then living off the nest egg you've carefully built up during your working years, telling yourself, yeah, that's it, now we're finally leaving for X months or even X years. So you should know one thing, we've met people like that, and usually their yearly budget isn't as well thought out as you might think. And those people often ended up having to come back earlier than planned. I can't even begin to describe the shock you feel when you go from a life of freedom, traveling and discovering new places, to suddenly having to return to your everyday routine. I might as well tell you straight away, we're not going back to it. You just don't get over it. The shock is intense. It's just as intense when you first discover freedom as it is when you suddenly find yourself back behind bars. That's why on our blog we have a nomadic and sedentary lifestyle calculator that already gives you an idea of the budget you'd need. I often tell you this budget is underestimated because when you're discovering and not working, you tend to spend much more easily than if you actually had to work. That's for sure. When you have a working life, a busy life, you spend less than when you're having fun. So, of course, that's true in most cases. There are people who really manage to live minimally and all that and avoid spending, and they can keep it up over time. But we've met some, and I always remember the look in their eyes every time, like, well, we have to go back, we're bummed, we have to go back. So then what's the solution? There's the option of saving up beforehand and being very careful. And there's the option of earning money while you work. I'll make another video about working while living the van life, but here we're mainly going to focus on 6 jobs, 6 digital nomad professions you can do. That is to say, it's not just for van life. These are 6 jobs you can do entirely remotely, basically, that's all. So you'll see these jobs are very often, well, connected to the internet. That's why having a good internet connection is essential. The internet will allow you, just like what we did me working as an SEO specialist in Caro as a content creator in the field of marketing, to be able to live the van life, to travel and live abroad while still earning a steady monthly income online that will either let you avoid having to come back home, or at the very least, keep you from having to return too soon, giving you more freedom and flexibility in your lifestyle. So in this type of job, often it's going to be related to skills you already have. Let's take the first job, which is graphic designer. Now, as a graphic designer, I won't lie to you, you'll need to be creative. But the advantage is that if you ever travel across Europe, around the world, if you're out in nature, in those kinds of places, it automatically sparks creativity. That's how van life and the job of a graphic designer can be more or less connected. Every day, you'll enrich your mind with new experiences, and you'll be able to bring that into your work as a graphic designer. Could be a good idea. A graphic designer needs to be flexible because sometimes you might be asked to take on projects that have to be done very quickly. So you'll need to know how to manage your time, but that's true for a lot of jobs. And you can go. The average salary is around 2,300 euros, so that's definitely enough to get by comfortably. You need a lot less when you're living the van life. So Even half of that should be enough to let you keep up this lifestyle for a longer time. As you can all see, all these jobs will require the internet. And that's where the little sponsor of this video comes in, called Holafly. With Holafly, you get eSIMs. Caro has already told you plenty about them. The eSIM lets you connect from pretty much anywhere, right from your phone. You go to any country, you just click, choose your destination, and you can instantly avoid those painful roaming fees. So there's a link and a promo code in the description. And now back to the video. The second job that can totally be compatible with Vanlife is web developer or web designer. I believe that's the job of our dear Steven from Les Trois Vagabonds. He's been working on projects for many years now. He develops. And honestly, he doesn't need to work many days each month to earn the income he needs. Being a developer does require pretty advanced skills, though. So if you're lucky enough to have those skills, if you fit that profile, well, there you go. You know that just a few projects should be enough to provide the income you need. Of course, it does require having pretty strong math abilities. There's more and more demand for coders, but at the same time, with AI, people are wondering if it's a job that will last in the long run. There are a few platforms, just like with graphic design and all those kinds of jobs, where you can sign up as a professional and pick up projects or gigs. Other things you can do related to web development and design nowadays, a lot of people are learning automation and no-code tools. These are things that will let you automate all kinds of tasks for companies. Companies are really into that, people who can automate all the complicated tasks. And here too, it's the same thing, In both cases, what you'll really need is a powerful computer and a good internet connection. As for skills, well, you'll need to know different programming languages. It could be CMS platforms like WordPress tools or CMS like Shopify if it's for e-commerce. And, well, you should have some understanding of how design works. And that's already pretty good when it comes to coding. Like I said, the advantage of this kind of job is that it works on a project basis. Well, if you manage to get a part-time position, that's really ideal. That's actually what I did, I had a part-time job, I worked every morning, and in the afternoons we could go out and move around. For me, that's the ideal situation. Plus, it lets you maybe work on a side project that could later become your main source of income if it's a SaaS, meaning a service you can sell online where subscriptions are your only source of revenue. And that's when things start to get really, really interesting. You're truly combining business with pleasure. Next, there are jobs related to marketing and SEM. This is what is most criticized about my job. Basically, it's a job where, for companies, you'll be responsible for user acquisition. You'll also sometimes be buying keywords on AdWords. So you'll be managing campaigns, auditing them day after day, week after week. But once your campaign is set up, you don't have to be on it every single day. You'll also be working on SEO. That means making sure that when someone searches for a product online, your pages, your results show up as high as possible. If it's first, even better. And I use it both for my clients and for the Planeta Caro website, where many articles and many searches related to Vanlife rank Planeta Caro's articles at the top of the search results, which helps with attracting and acquiring new visitors, selling products, and earning money that allows you to keep traveling while working, for example, by funding your journeys. These jobs are very, very well paid. So if your goal is to have a lot of free time, you'll be able to have a comfortable income, enough to live on and get by while working only a little. And if you want to really boost your income, you can do that too. So you need to have a good command of SEO and SEA, know how to analyze competitors and keywords, optimize the technical content of a website as well as the semantic content. That is, the content itself, what visitors are searching for, what kind of searches they might do to land on your article. The more visitors you have, the more you'll be able to sell ads or sell products related to your topic. So yeah, it's a job I really love. I've been doing it for 20 years. It allows me to, every day, try to get better at it. It helps me understand how people's minds work in order to encourage them to buy. And that's something I especially enjoy. Another job related to this is being a community manager. A community manager is someone who takes care of social media for others. So they'll have a bunch of small clients whose social media accounts they manage. Now, it's good, but at the same time, it's not so great when you're living the van life because you'll have to, well, it all depends on the type of content. So yeah, I had to manage social media accounts, and sometimes it was a hassle because we didn't have the content, or I had to go back to my client's place from time to time to take as many photos as possible so I could schedule posts for the weeks and months ahead when we'd be on the road again. So yeah, it's something either the client will have to provide you with the content, and if they only do half the work, well, it gets a bit complicated. Or you'll have to create all the content yourself, which means from time to time you'll still need to be on site because, well, it's not going to happen automatically unless your cousin or someone goes and takes the photos for you. So there you have it. Anyway, for this kind of job, it's true that clients like it when you already have a portfolio. And if you don't have any clients, you don't have a portfolio. So it might have to be your own content, you know. If you had some small side projects, things like that, or even your Instagram account, as long as it looks at least a little professional and doesn't just show you hanging out with your grandparents or your little beach vacations. So that can also work for this kind of job. It's a bit more complicated. That's it. It's the kind of job where if you have a content calendar, like a recurring schedule, a sort of garden of ideas, a calendar where you already know, you'll see there are special days like theme days every single day. Like Hazelnut Day or whatever day, or like Environment Day or whatever. So if you have a content calendar that tells you all the events and special days throughout the year, you already have enough to put together a little schedule, so you don't have to constantly look for new ideas. Our tip is to clearly identify your client's theme and try, for example, to post a certain type of content every Monday or on Wednesdays or Fridays. That way you have, I don't know, for example, a Monday quote or say a Wednesday review, that kind of thing. And that way you don't have to come up with a new idea every single time. It helps you stay consistent over time and makes it easier to create content without racking your brain. Finally, another job you can do online, and therefore while living the van life and as a digital nomad, is being a coach. Coaches are everywhere these days. They're popping up all over the place. If you have a skill, don't hesitate to monetize it. You definitely have what it takes to make some money. A coach can earn monthly income, especially if it's a subscription model and you update your content regularly. So, if you have skills or abilities, you can either create a course with videos or offer digital training programs. You can sell your time, but the problem with selling your time is that it's not scalable. If you sell an hour of video call, well, it will always cost the same, whereas if you sell the same PDF multiple times, it's like you're duplicating it in a way. So now there are plenty of tools and platforms that allow you to be a coach. There you go. Avoid trying to be an expert if you're not good at it. It'll show pretty quickly. You really need to have value to offer. You really need to have something to bring to the table. It can be a good thing. For me, this kind of job can be a good thing. Apparently, this is working well these days with AI. There are going to be more and more people with free time, so maybe more and more coaches, and maybe more and more scammers too, you never know. That's why I'm offering you my course, how to know I'm just kidding. Not at all. So that's it for that job. And now, web copywriter. Well, obviously, with AI, being a web copywriter is a bit more complicated now, Language AIs are getting more and more advanced, and honestly, even translators, that used to be a job, it could have been on this list, but that's also getting more and more complicated. So, unless you're really specialized, unless you have a skill or technical language that AI doesn't have, and I think even that, in the long run, is going to be tough. So yeah, web copywriter. Web copywriting can be needed for, well, once again, things like social media. You need to have an excellent command of written language, as you can imagine. You also need to have knowledge of SEO. You have to know how to adapt to your clients, so you really need to stay up to date and do a lot of research every time you get a new client to know what you're going to do. So yeah, this kind of job too, web copywriting, even if While you're at it as a web copywriter, you might as well write books. Write a book and sell it on Amazon, Kaipi, or whatever platform where you can sell your own book. Maybe that'll work out better in the end. Same thing, you'll be able to sell your book, kind of like with online courses. So if we had to compare the different professions, well, I'd say there are a lot that can be replaced by AI. Marketing the way I do it, well, maybe that's actually the last one of them all. I wonder if it isn't the very last one. Well, creatives too, anything creative as well. But in any case, given this kind of lifestyle, you should prioritize a web-based job. It will really allow you to work from anywhere, in any way, as long as you have an internet connection. So, my friends, did you enjoy this video? Feel free to leave a comment, maybe tell us what job you do. Who knows, you might already be doing one of these. There will be a more detailed video coming up that will explain how to work while living the van life. Don't forget to subscribe. Sending you hugs and see you soon.